To optimize performance and also to keep your scene organized, you're going to want to put some of these curves and other elements such as follicles and paint effect strokes into layers. You'll also want to learn how to turn the display of these different elements on and off and how to convert selections. To begin, you can select any element in the system and then go to the N-Hair menu, and you will see Display, and you will also see Convert Selection. Let's look at Convert Selection first. Convert Selection, as the name implies, allows you to convert the current selection to another type of selection. So for example, right now I have one curve selected, and I can go over here and choose to follicles. And now it has selected all the follicles that correspond to the curve that I had selected. I can go back up into that menu, N-Hair, Convert Selection, and I can choose Convert to Hair Systems. And that will select the global system node, as you can see here. I can go back in again, N-Hair, Convert Selection to Follicles, and now it's selected all of the follicles because those are all downstream from this global node, which is the hair system node. So the items in that Convert Selections menu are pretty helpful, actually, because now I can do things like place all the follicles on their own layer so I can hide them. With all those follicles selected, I'll go to the Display Layers and choose Create New Layer and assign Selected Objects. And now if I disable that layer, make it invisible, you'll see all the follicles disappear. Double click on that and I'll rename it and I'll call it Follicles Layer. I want to do the same for the strokes, which are the actual paint effects renderable hairs. So I want to select those strokes. And if you have trouble selecting it, then go to the outliner, Window, Outliner, and PFX Hair is the strokes node. With that selected, I'll make another layer. Double click that and I'll call it Strokes Layer. So now I've placed all the strokes on their own layer. I can hide them. And I've also placed the follicles on their own layer and I can hide them too. But you will notice that we've still got these curves. Those are the output curves. If I press play, you'll see that those are dynamic. The output curves should really be placed on their own layer as well. And you can see that they're all in a group. I'll select that group and then make a third layer for them. Double click and call that Output Curves Layer and click Save. Now there's another set of curves that we're not currently seeing here, and those are the start curves. The start curves are the style curves that we can use to design the hair. And to make those visible or invisible, we can go back into the N-Hair menu and choose Display. And from this menu, we can choose Current Position, Start Position, or Rest Position. Current position are the output curves. So just remember that when Maya says current position and output curves, those are the same thing. So currently those are visible. The current position or output curves are visible now. If I choose Start Position, then I don't see anything because the follicles are currently hidden. So that's something you need to know. The start curves are children of the follicles. Each start curve is a child of each follicle. If I make those follicles visible once again, you will see the start curves. And if I go into the outliner and open it up a bit, you can see under hair system follicles, each follicle has a curve associated with it. So again, these are the start curves that you will use for styling, and they will not be dynamic. If I turn the strokes back on and then press play, you will see that the strokes or the paint effects renderable hairs are dynamic, but these curves here are not changing shape because those are the start curves. So let's recap this whole structure here. The first thing are the follicles, and those are sort of glued onto the surface. Each follicle has a child, which is the start curve, and we use that to style the hair. The start curves, in turn, generate output curves, also known as the current position curves. And those output curves are not children. They're in their own group, as you can see here. And the output curves, in turn, drive the actual renderable paint effects, or PFX Hair 1, as shown here. Very good. So now we've got a good overview of how the system is going to work, and we've organized it into display layers.